Krishna Krishna Hare
Hare Krishna, everyone. Welcome to this series where we were discussing the Chatursloki Bhagavatam. So, in last two classes, in last week, the Friday and Saturday, we discussed text number 35 and 36 from 9th chapter, 2nd canto. And today is the last part of this series, and we will try to I'll try to actually go through two of the remaining verses, that is verse number 35 and 36. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshunmitham Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manohishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shiyuta Padakonam Shri Guru Vaishnavamsya Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Tam Tum Sajivam Swadvaitam Savadutam Parigana Shaitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sangalalita Shri Vishakanitasya He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagapate Gopesha Gopanta Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishwavanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priya Pancha Kalpataru Vaishya Kripa Sindhu Vaivacha Patithanam Bhavanevya Vishnavya Namo Namo Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Shri Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So first we will read text number 35. Yatha mahanti bhutani bhuteshu cha vasheshu anu pravistani apravistani tatha teshu na teshu aham. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada, Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. O Brahma, please know that the universal elements enters into the cosmos and at the same time do not enter into the cosmos. Similarly, I myself also exist within everything created, and at the same time, I am outside of everything. So, the purport. The great elements of material creation, namely earth, water, fire, and ether, all enter into the body of all manifested entities, the seas, mountains, aquatics, plants, reptiles, birds, beasts, human beings, demigods, and everyone materially manifested. And at the same time, such elements are differently situated. In the developed stage of consciousness, the human being can study both physiological and physical science, but the basic principle of such sciences are nothing but the material elements and nothing more. The body of the human being and the body of the mountain, as also the bodies of the demigods, including Brahma, are all of the same ingredients, earth, water, etc. And at the same time, the elements are beyond the body. The elements were created first and therefore they entered into the bodily constructions later. But in both circumstances, they entered the cosmos and also did not enter. Similarly, the Supreme Lord, by his different energies, namely the internal and external, is within everything in the manifested cosmos. And at the same time, he is outside of everything, situated in the kingdom of God, Vaikuntha, as described before. This is very nicely stated in the Brahma Samhita 5.37 as follows. Ananda chinmaya rasa pratibhavita ves tabhi yeva nijarupataya kalavihi koloka eva nivashati akhilatma bhoto govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. I worship the personality of Godhead Govinda, who by expansion of his internal potency of transcendental existence, knowledge and bliss, enjoys in his own and expanded forms. Simultaneously, he enters into every atom of the creation. The expansion of his planetary parts is also more definitely uh, uh, explained in the same Brahma Samhita 5.37 as follows. Eko api aso rachiyutam jagadanda kotim yachaktirasti jagadanda chayadayanta anandarasta paramanu chayantarastam govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. I worship the personality of Godhead, Govinda, who by one of his planetary portions enters into the existence of every universe and every particle of the atoms and thus unlimitedly manifests his infinite energy all over the material creation. The impersonalist can imagine or even perceive that the Supreme Brahman is thus all pervading, and therefore they conclude that there is no possibility of his personal form. Herein lies the mystery of his transcendental knowledge. This mystery of transcendental love of Godhead, and one who is surcharged with such transcendental love of Godhead can without any difficulty see the personality of Godhead in every atom and every movable or immovable object. And at the same time, he can see the personality of Godhead in his own abode, Goloka, enjoying eternal pastimes with his eternal associate, who are also expansion of his transcendental existence. This vision is the real mystery of spiritual knowledge, as stated by the Lord in the beginning. Sahasrasham tad angamcha. This mystery is the most confidential part of the knowledge of the Supreme, and it is impossible for the mental speculators to discover by dint of intellectual gymnastics. The mystery can be revealed through the process recommended by Brahmaji in Brahma Samhita 5.38 as follows. Premanjana churita bhakti vilochanena santa sadaiva hridayeshu vilokyanti yam shyama sundaram achintaya guna swarupam govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. I worship the original personality of Godhead, Govinda, whom the pure devotees, their eyes smeared with the ointment of love of Godhead, always observe within their hearts. This Govinda, the original personality of Godhead, is Shyamashundara with all transcendental qualities. Therefore, although he is present in every atom, the supreme personality of Godhead may not be visible to the dry speculators, till the mystery is unfolded before the eyes of the pure devotees, because their eyes are anointed with the love of Godhead. And this love of Godhead can be attained only by the practice of transcendental loving service of the Lord, and nothing else. The vision of the devotee is not ordinary, it is purified by the process of devotional service. In other words, as the universal elements are both within and without, similarly, Lord's name, form, quality, pastimes, entourage, etc., as they are described in the revealed scriptures or as performed in the Vaikuntha Lokas, far, far beyond the material cosmic manifestation, are factually being televised in the heart of the devotee. The man with a poor fund of knowledge cannot understand, although by material science one can see things far away by means of television. Factually, the spiritually developed person is able to have the television of the kingdom of God always reflected within his heart. This is the mystery of knowledge of the personality of Godhead. The Lord can award anyone and everyone liberation mukti from the bondage of material existence. Yet he rarely awards the privilege of love of Godhead, as confirmed by Narada. Muktin dadanti karhichit smana bhakti yogam. This transcendental devotional service of the Lord is so wonderful that the occupation keeps the deserving devotees always wrapped in psychological activities without deviation from the absolute touch. Thus, love of Godhead, developed in the heart of the devotee, is a great mystery. Brahmaji previously told Narada that the desires of Brahmaji are never unfulfilled because he is always absorbed in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. Nor has he any desire in the heart save in the heart, save and accept the transcendental service of the Lord. This is the beauty and mystery of the process of Bhakti Yoga. As the Lord's desire is infallible because he is Achyuta, similarly the desires of the devotee in the transcendental service of the Lord are also Achyuta, infallible. This is very difficult, however, for the layman to understand without knowledge of the mystery of devotional service, as it is very difficult to know the potency of touchstones. A touchstone is rarely found. A pure devotee of the Lord is also rarely to be seen. Even amongst millions of liberated souls, Kotishu Api Mahamune, out of all kinds of perfections attained by the process of knowledge, yoga perfection is in devotional service is the highest of all, and the most mysterious also, even more mysterious than the 8 kinds of mystic perfection attained by the process of yogic performance. In the Bhagavad Gita 1864, the Lord therefore advised Arjuna about the Bhakti Yoga. Sarva Guyatma Bhuya Shinu Me Paramam Vacha. Just hear from me again about the most confidential part of the instructions in Bhagavad Gita. The same was confirmed by Brahmaji to Narad in the following words: Idam Bhagavatam Nama Yan Me Bhagavato Ditam Sangriho Yam Vibhutinam Tam Etad Vipuli Kru. Brahmaji said to Narada, whatever I have spoken to you about the Bhagavatam was explained to me by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And I am advising you to expand these topics nicely so that people may easily understand the mysterious Bhakti Yoga, right transcendental loving service to the Lord. It is to be noted here that the mystery of Bhakti Yoga was disclosed to Brahmaji by the Lord himself. Brahmaji explained the same mystery to Narada, Narada explained it to Vyasa, Vyasa explained to Sukadev Goswami, and the same knowledge is coming down in the unalloyed chain of disciplic succession. If one is fortunate enough to have received the knowledge in the transcendental disciplic succession, surely he will have the chance to understand the mystery of the Lord, and that of Srimad Bhagavatam, the sound incarnation of the Lord. So basically, in this verse, the main thing explained is the mystic potency of the Lord. So how it is explained that he is there, but he is not there. He is in the cosmos, but he is not also in the cosmos. So for a material mind, it's very hard to understand. But whereas for devotees, the understanding becomes easier as we go through the process of devotional service. Like without going through that process of devotional service, it's not possible to understand these mystic opulences, like how the Lord is explaining here that he like all this manifestation, everything, like he's within that, but again at the same time he is enjoying in Goloka Vrindavan with all his associates. So how is it possible? So for this to understand that, we simply have to surrender. We have to simply to surrender to the scriptures, which is coming through the disciplic succession. Because these scriptures, they were actually written and revealed by the Lord, and it was taken forward by the bona fide representative. So whatever in the scriptures, especially in Srimad Bhagavatam, they are the absolute truth. And when we actually set up our mind like that, it becomes easier to accept it. Otherwise, it's very hard. It's very hard to apprehend that. This pastime, like this not pastime. It's just a story. I think about the frog who lives in a well, and suddenly he heard that there is this huge ocean called Atlantic Ocean. And the frog is trying to then measure the Atlantic Ocean based on all the different kind of sceneries, all the different kind of elements that he can find in that well. Based on that, because he didn't went out of that well ever, but he wanted to, like, uh, take all those knowledge what he gathered from there and try to measure Atlantic Ocean. Is it possible? No, because, like, actually Atlantic vast. It is so big that compared to a well, it's the well is nothing compared to Atlantic Ocean. So that similarly with our materialistic understanding knowledge, if we want to measure this mystic potency or understand these mystic potencies of the Lord, it's not it's not easy, and most of the time that's why it doesn't make sense. Like some of the people, they say that, oh, but Krishna was born in Gokul, in Vrindavan, in a village. He was just a boy. They were all fable stories. People have just put extra, on top of that some extra layers to make it more that's all not true. Because yes, Krishna was born as a normal child, but within his birth of 3 days, he killed a precious demon like Putana. How many kids can do it? Like within the age of 5, he lifted the Govardhan hill. How many kids can do it? So if we see that, okay, that's a normal birth, but then how many of them can do all these pastimes? So that's why Krishna explained in Bhagavad Gita that his his birth, his pastimes are all transcendental. Janma karma cha mam divyam. So divyam is transcendental. So, and who actually understand that, they actually go back to him. So understanding it, Krishna never said understanding meaning that understand all this pastime at how it happened. No, understanding is when someone surrendered and somebody actually understood, when somebody surrendered to the Lord and then they actually felt, yes, is everything, anything and everything is possible by the Lord. So nothing is impossible. But unfortunately, for the materialistic people, for them it's they don't want to go through it because it doesn't make sense to them. Because whenever this word comes surrender, it comes in this material world, it comes as a very negative connotation. That when you say, okay, surrender means I have to give up to someone. And from our childhood we are brought up in such a way that no, never give up, never give up, always always you try to make sure that you stand on your own. Why you have to give up to someone? No, you have to have your strength, you have to have your own power to stand tall. Never give up to any kind of things. So that's why whenever you say no, you have to surrender to someone. Obviously at the beginning it's hard to understand, but at least if someone understand that, okay, this is something which is happening, as whatever is happening in this material world, there is something which is much bigger, which is controlling this. It is not in our control. When someone actually started to think about this, and this is the use of intelligence. This is a use of intelligence that a human being can do, but a animal cannot do. For the animal, their realm is eating, sleeping, mating, defending. Outside that there is nothing else. But for a human being, outside these are the basic, but outside that there are so many other things that they can do. So specifically to start with, that they have this intelligence to think about things. That okay, we are living in this material world, in this world, how this world is going on, how the things. So we are, and then started to go through the scientific things, and then with time and effort, try to find out, what is this about, what is this life about, what is this, what is the goal of this life. When someone actually is trying to go through that, then this actually the the journey begins. They call the seekers. In this, I have heard one of my friend was saying, "Oh, I have one cousin," because he knew that I go to ISKCON. So he said, "Oh, you are Hare Krishna. I also have one cousin. He is also a seeker." So for them, anyone who is actually delved into the spiritual side, they call them seekers. They wanted to find something. I'm not sure if it is what she mentioned is in a negative or a positive way, but she just said he's a seeker. So, but this is very much essential for our spiritual life. We are always seeking what we are seeking, and that actually Krishna will be coming into the in the concluding verse, what we should seek. So if we don't do that endeavor, then what happened that we just we don't understand things, and it actually makes us more bitter. So it's like a assembly of crows, who eats the very bitter fruit of a neem tree, the neem tree underneath which Chaitanya Mahaprabhu born. That neem tree, the fruit of the neem tree is very bitter. So the crows usually eat those bitter fruit, and they actually even make all kind of horrible noises. But at the same time, the devotees, they relishes the nectar which is coming out from Srimad Bhagavatam. All these wonderful pastimes, all these wonderful stories of Krishna's pastime and devotees' pastimes, and they are so wonderful, so refreshing. So that's why you see the devotees are happy. Whereas most of the time, if someone is not there, they are always, it's first of all, they wanted to dispute everything which is in spiritual, and also everything which is in material. The sign of someone in the material world is smart, or if someone think, oh, he's a very smart person, or he's a very a person who understand things, means that person disputing everything. Like you say, the sun rises in the east. No, I dispute that. Why you dispute it? I don't know. I just want to dispute. Let's see where we go. But I just want to dispute. I don't what you say. I don't agree. For the sake of doing that, and you see how foolish that is. So, our business, when we are fortunate to be here, and receive Krishna consciousness through Srila Prabhupada. Our business is to accept Krishna with all his inconceivable potencies. That is our main business, one of the main business, because that's where the journey starts. Because without that, it's we'll be stuck. If we come to this path and then we don't think, oh, Krishna is not as supreme personality of Godhead, oh, I'm actually not sure. Yeah, I like doing the service, but actually I'm not sure with that. That something is actually even more dangerous. You are here, you are doing the service, you're doing all the prescribed duties, but Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. But that happens, that happens time to time. But when devotees see that, okay, that faith is not there, it's the conviction is not there, then it's very hard to achieve the spiritual perfection. Srila Prabhupada once said that he achieved whatever he achieved because he had the conviction that whatever his Guru Maharaj predicted, it will happen. Whatever Chaitanya Mahaprabhu predicted, it will happen. That পৃথিবীতে যত আছে নগরাদি গ্রাম সর্বত্র প্রচার হইবে মোর নাম. So if Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, it will happen. So that conviction is very essential. But again, that comes that comes from our spiritual practice, from our surrender, from our sadhana, from our devotion. It just don't come in one day, but it's a gradual process. It's a journey. So another point which is mentioned in this purport, also Srila Prabhupada was mentioning that the impersonalist also, their point is, okay, Krishna is all pervading. Now, if he is all pervading, that means that he doesn't have any form, right? But he's all providing at the same time, but he's also have Satchidananda Vigraha. So he has a transcendental form, and within this form, he is enjoying in the Shyam form in Goloka Vrindavan. He is in Vaikuntha with his 400 form. So he has definitely a form. And how the human beings have a form? Because if we are coming from something, we have to have a form. Now, evolution theory says that because we came from the monkeys, that's why we had the form, and we evolved. So like the monkeys, they can't walk straight, then we evolved to walk straight. Any day, if someone gave me that theory against a theory that you actually came from a transcendental, from a god who has a transcendental form, I will take that god from the transcendental form of a god, that feature, rather than it came from a monkey. So it's then again, use of our intelligence, that how we should perceive that. And then also it mentioned that Krishna is greater than the greatest and the smaller than the smallest. We say that for Krishna, he is in Bhagavad Gita explaining that from all the great things, he is greater than. But at the same time, Krishna is also mentioning that he is smaller than the smallest. Like we see that. We have all the big demons coming to kill Krishna, all right? And as I said, within 3 days of his birth, he killed Putana. It's like such a big demon. So these are like great, pastimes. He's greater than all those demons. At the same time, when we see little Krishnas and his pastimes, they actually mesmerize us. So right currently we are going through Damodar month, and that is the pastime of little Krishna. Like little Krishna is like running away from Mother Yashoda, and then Mother Yashoda caught him and bind him, and then he take out that rope, and then all through that pastime, he actually shows his mercy to the devotees, and Nalakubara and Manikriva, they got released from their curses. So, but those pastimes is of little Krishna is so mesmerizing, and they have so much. They gave our heart so much soothing. Um, we are very much or gets attracted towards the childhood pastimes, right, of Krishna. And again, even if we see Krishna's, when he is a small boy, every time they said a god, how come he's a boy, he's a small boy. But here we see that all this Krishna's Bal Gopal pastimes are so wonderful. And because we are naturally attracted towards childhood, right? And also in terms of that smaller, Krishna says that he is smaller than Bhagavad Gita. He's small, like he is so small that he's in every atom, and even smaller than the soul. And the soul is 1/100th of the tip of the hair. So he's so small. And that's why he's greater than the greatest and smaller than the smallest. So this is something in this verse, specifically 35. It's getting explained that when we that specifically from Chaitanya Lila or Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, with after discussing everything, all the Mayavadi philosophies, the ultimately which came Achinta Vedavet Tattva, right? Simultaneously there but not there. So that is the ultimate, and that is what Krishna is. And simultaneously Krishna is there, but he is not there. Now that's what it's not that Achinta Vedavet Tattva. It's not possible for us to perceive that. Like as per our material understanding, we can't we can't conceive that. It's very hard. So we only can, once we surrender to the Lord, and when we serve the Vaishnavas, then only we get this understanding. Like, by service, the Divya Gyan, the transcendental knowledge, Divya Gyan Hriday Prakashito. Like, only by that the transcendental knowledge appear in our heart, and then we actually understand that Krishna's his mystic potencies. So that is what discuss in this verse, verse number 35, and then I just have to little bit do a in a faster way, because obviously two verses, and then these are like really big with purports. The next verse 36 actually have almost like 10 to 14 pages purport, so we will not be able to go through within this limited time. But I will. But that is the concluding verse, so I will just try to go through, try to share the points from out of that verse. So then, before we go to that verse, so until now, what we have learned in these three verses, that Krishna is the cause of the all causes. Then Krishna is a person, very important. Also, Krishna is a person. Krishna is our Lord. Krishna is the supreme personality of God, and we are Krishna's eternal servant, Jive Sarupahai Krishna Nitadas. And everything else, other than that, everything, whatever other activities we are doing, that if we are not doing something which is not related to serving Krishna, everything else is illusion. So that's there. And then in today's 35, we just went through that that Krishna is everywhere, and Krishna's mystic potency. It's something that, without surrendering to Krishna, it is not easy for anyone to understand. It's only Krishna who can reveal that to his devotees. Otherwise, it's not easy for us, like that frog sitting staying in a whale, trying to understand Atlantic Ocean. Similarly, for us, this material world is even smaller than a whale compared to this huge universe or galaxy. So for us to understand everything. So now we move to the next verse, which is like the concluding verse of this Chatursloki Srimad Bhagavatam. So that is verse number 36. Etavad eva jignasham tvatva jignashunatmanaha anvaya vyathireka vayam yatsyat sarvatra sarvata. Translation, Srila Prabhupada. A person who is searching after the supreme absolute truth, the personality of Godhead, must certainly search for it up to this in all circumstances, in all space and time, and both directly and indirectly. So in this concluding verse, Krishna actually now giving us the instruction. So up to the three verse, Krishna explained who he is, what's his feature, and what's her action, what his actions are. But now he's actually giving us the instruction that what we should do, we as his part and parcel, what we should do. So in this, the first thing, always we must certainly search for it up to this. So we should always looking for Krishna. And how it is possible? We always should look for any kind of service, which can please Krishna. So we should always, if we because through service we get joined with Krishna. So that can be chanting, that can be reading, that can be any process, 9 processes of devotional service. It can be that. But we have to, and then as per our nature, we should find that what that is. We should then get engaged to that service. Because without that, if we don't do it, then it's very easy in this material world to forget Krishna. In this material world, for most of the materialistic, for the majority of the materialistic people, if you ask what is the greatest fear, and obviously the answer will be the greatest fear is death. That, oh, I will die. So it is the greatest fear, but at the same time, most of the people even don't think about it. Yeah, death will come sometimes. So like now, I'm young. Death will come at probably when I get a little bit older. But yeah, I'm not even think about it. So that actually not a wise thing. That's actually ignorance, right? Because among everything in our life, death is the ultimate truth. Like even for a materialistic person. So even if they see that they don't believe anything in God, in demon, in anything, they have to believe in death because they know that death is inevitable. So for that, death is when it's inevitable. That's what also is the greatest fear. That when what will happen, like if I die. And where this fear of death coming from? Their fear of death coming from is from fear of losing this body, because this body is the means or the machinery to enjoy all the sense enjoyment, all the materialist materialistic different kind of opportunities are there to enjoy sense gratification. But if the body is not there, then obviously, like the gross body, if not there, then it's not for us. We will not be able to enjoy that. So that's why the fear comes that okay, if I lost the body, then I'll not be able to enjoy it. But when someone gets this understanding, the knowledge that we are not the body, rather we are the spirit soul, then they actually transcendence from that fear of death. Because then they say, okay, just body is just a a cloth. My soul will transmigrate from one body to another body. So what's the fear? As far as I take care of the soul. Okay, so now taking care of the soul. Now someone read about Srimad Bhagavad Gita and say and found out that you're not the body, you're the soul. The soul's characteristics are this, and that's how you should take care of the soul. Then what is the greatest fear? Then when someone comes into that platform, then for a devotee who is devotee, obviously we call devotee them because they are devoted to Krishna. And what is the greatest fear? The greatest fear is forgetfulness of Krishna. Like we say that always remember Krishna and never forget Krishna. Because forgetfulness of Krishna is like death of the spiritual life. And whatever we do, that we have to make sure that we are, and that's the reason that we should be always eager. That we should be always eager to find any kind of opportunity to serve the Lord, because in that way, our life, that if we are connected with Krishna through service, that's the only way that we will remember about Krishna. Otherwise, the material world have all kind of arrangements there that we will forget Krishna. And there is there that something happened like that, and that's why we are sitting here, right? So that's why Krishna gives us in this concluding verse the instruction that always search for him. Like that search should be there forever. And if we remain in illusion or in Maya, then Krishna will never help us in this search. But if we sincerely search, then we have seen examples in Srimad Bhagavatam, that like when someone very dedicatedly wanted wanted to do that search, wanted to find out what the real truth is, then Krishna revealed himself. So if I may discuss couple of them, the first is obviously Brahma. So we discussed in the first class also that Brahma, how he appeared from the navel of the Lord on a lotus flower, and after he was after he appeared, he was just searching and searching. He was looking. It was like pitch dark. He couldn't see anything. He didn't have any memory from where he came from, and he was just trying to search. So he came down from the stem of that lotus flower, couldn't find anything, and then again went up to that lotus flower. And at that point of time, he was just hearing this sound, like he could sound this sound of the wave. It's like tapa, tapa, tapa. And from that, he thought, okay, I should meditate. And from that meditation, he was just trying to find out, okay, what is the purpose of this life? Why is this existence? Why I'm here? What's the goal of my life? So when sincerely someone do this search, then the Lord appears. And that's what we see. Krishna appeared, and through his flute, Krishna provided him the knowledge, the transcendental knowledge. And that's what we are also getting through the disciplic succession. And not only that, Krishna, after giving that knowledge to him, Krishna also embraced Brahma. That is the ultimate perfection of life. That getting it's not only the Lord. You don't only get the chance to see the Lord, you also get a glimpse of the Lord. Get an embrace from the Lord. So wonderful. So this is such wonderful. Just thinking of Brahma. He's a creator. As we say, he's a creator. But how helpless, how lost he was, and he just prayed. He just did meditate. He did that search, and the Lord appeared. So similarly, we see in Chaitanya Lila, in the pastimes of Tapan Mishra. So Tapan Mishra was one of the most closest associates of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But before he met Mahaprabhu, Tapan Mishra belongs to a very good, educated, wealthy family. But he was always searching. He was always trying to think that what is the purpose of this life? What is the goal of this life? And he was searching very seriously. It's not like that one day just think about it and then forget for 10 more days and then no. He was continuously thinking about it. What is the purpose of the life? What I should do with this life? What is the goal of my life? So then when one day he got a dream. And in that dream, it was revealed to him that the Lord has appeared as in the form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Navadvip. So he should go there and he should surrender himself. So then Tapan Mishra, next morning, he woke up and straight away he started his journey. Although he was a family person, but after I got this message, he just left everything. And he just, he went for Navadvip town. And he met Mahaprabhu there. And he just fell on the feet of Mahaprabhu, surrendered himself. And he said, this is what I should do in my life. And surrendered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And that is the goal of life, that to surrender. And then Mahaprabhu explained to him that that is the goal, but the way to do it is by the process of bhakti. So then Mahaprabhu explained to him that how the process of so this is the goal and this is the means, that how we should do it. And then Mahaprabhu started chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And Tapan Mishra was ecstatic. He never felt this amount of joy, in his life. He was having all these symptoms in his body, all these different kind of, ecstasies that he never experienced. But then suddenly, after that, just after having that wonderful experience, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told him that, Tapan Mishra, you should now go to Varanasi. Stay there. I'll come and I'll meet you there. And Tapan Mishra was just, I just met the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Right? He took Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He said, "Can I speak with you?" And in private, he took him in a private place and said that, "Look, this is the dream I had, and it says that you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and now you are asking me to leave." And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, "Look, you can't reveal that to anyone, that what your dream. So your dream should be, it's a personal thing, and you shouldn't reveal that to anyone. And that's my wish, that you should go to Varanasi, and I will come and I will meet you there." And Tapan Mishra was saying that he's going to miss this chance to see the Navadvip Chandra having all these ecstatic moods and ecstatic Harinam in Navadvip with all the devotees and all the stalwart devotees, it's all the Panchatattvas. They are doing all the Harinams, and in Shiva Shangan, in the night, they are doing all this Kirtan. He's saying that I'm going to miss all of this. And where Mahaprabhu is asking me to go, in all of the places, it's to Varanasi, where it is the main place for all the impersonalists. All they are chanting there is Brahma Satta Jagat Mithya, Brahma Satta Jagat Mithya. There is nothing, no traces of any Harinam there. But as he got that instruction from the Lord, he took it, and that's the wonderful quality, and that's a very big lesson. That also, for devotional service, although we like so many things and things like that, time to time there must be some service comes which is not as per our accordance, but rather than Lord's will, and we have to take it in a joyful mood with all enthusiasm. We can't then just say that no, I don't like it, and which is the I need to do what I like. No, we need to do what the Lord like, what pleases Him most, not pleases me most. So Tapan Mishra just renounced that opportunity to see Navadvip Chandra in Navadvip, and he just went and then went to Varanasi. So this is the ultimate goal of life. We see from Tapan Mishra that he had this desire to understand what is the goal of life, what is happening with my life, and he was trying to find out that what within, and then this desire, this desire to develop this desire is very important, and ultimately we must develop the desire to hear about Krishna and praise Krishna. That is something that is summum bonum of it. that we are trying everything that we are trying is to please Krishna. Another example we see, obviously, Parikshit Maharaj. So Parikshit Maharaj's enthusiasm, it's something like which you will never ever get in any kind of scriptures where a person, a king of the entire universe, is about to die in 7 days. He could do so many things. He could go to he could go to the heavenly planet. He could speak with all the the demigods, trying to find out some kind of way to protect himself. But no, it just on the contrary. What happened? When we when we go through tough time, suddenly our usual practices on day by day practices, whatever we do, it actually kind of goes down or diminishes. We don't like to do because we are down, things like that. But for a spiritual person, for an exalted devotee, at those kind of time, their eagerness to do spiritual activities even increases manifold. They say, okay, this is the time of the test. Parikshit, who came by giving a pariksha, by exam, by a period of time which actually test us. So while those period goes, we should actually increase our eagerness to serve the Lord. So we see that this Maharaj Parikshit eagerness to hear Krishna Katha for 7 days, that not only increased his love for Godhead, even Shukadev Goswami said that your eagerness is so, it's so touching, and that actually also increased my eagerness to share all these pastimes with you. So here we see that, and this is the relationship with the guru and disciple, right? Like the disciple, the eagerness to serve the guru in whatever way, form, whatever is required. The disciple is always ready to serve the guru. And the guru is also, in every way possible, trying to help the disciple to make sure that the disciple develops the love for Godhead. And that is that never-ending cycle of loving relationship between guru and disciple. That both just both feed off from that love from each other. So we see that this is something that our eagerness should be there. We should be eager to listen to Krishna Katha, to all the services. But why it is difficult? It is difficult because Maya always put different kind of obstacles there for us to not to do it, for us to lose our enthusiasm, for us to lose the eagerness, for us to any kind of thing that actually will take us far from Krishna. There will be the three folds of miseries will be there to always push us away. These miseries will come, and okay, today my health is not that well, I'll not be going to the temple, or I'm going through so much thing, my family trouble and things like that, I'm not going to go to there and things like that. Or today is something which is I'm really excited about, so I'm going to skip this thing, my spiritual practices. And this is Maya actually put all these things in place for us to actually get diverted from Krishna, away from Krishna. We see that also happened with Arjuna, right? Arjuna, whatever at the beginning of Bhagavad Gita, whatever thing that he was saying, as he was talking from scriptures, he was giving hundreds different kinds of excuses for not to battle, right? And he was saying this, he was saying that, and Krishna was saying that, yeah, you are saying all this very scholarly kind of talk, but you're talking like a fool. Excuse me. So, uh, like, although you are talking like you're pretending to like a sage, but you're you're talking like a fool. So Arjuna, he was putting all these things, and Krishna straight away cut all those things because he was saying that all your excuses, all the points that you have put is to satisfy the body, not the soul. So what I'm explaining here is to how to preserve your soul, how to enliven your soul, and that's how you should do your service. And when Krishna explained that, then obviously Arjuna started the battle, got ready for the battle, because that's the thing. Like, it's not about the body; it's the soul. So to conclude from this Chatursloki Bhagavatam, that and from the specific instruction from Krishna, that we must be eager for Krishna. We must be searching for Krishna. We must be eager to listen to Krishna Katha. We must be eager to glorify and to tell others about the glories of Krishna. We must serve Guru. We must have this eagerness to serve the Guru. We must have this eagerness to serve the Vaishnavas. We must reciprocate the love that we are receiving in a real way. It's not shouldn't be in a kind of like in a show off or something like that, but in a way that we should reciprocate the love that we are receiving. Because when we are executing devotional service, there will be exchange of love. If not, then that service will not be there for long. It's only by the exchange of love that something remains eternal. Other than anything, if love is not there, then it becomes that mechanical, it becomes like a give and take exchange. The Lord becomes our order supplier. So when we have this eagerness, and when we have this always this intense search for the Lord, in all circumstances, in the translation, Srila Prabhupada is saying that must certainly search for it up to this in all circumstances, in all space and time, and both directly and indirectly. So when that happens, when we actually go through that, when we go through that phase, and we sustain ourselves in that phase, that we are continuously doing it. Sadhana in Krishna consciousness, like in our spiritual practice, something which is continuous, which is not something that we do and we stop. No, we continuous and ever increasing. And if that's the phase, if we able to reach, then that is how we get Krishna. That is how Krishna himself. And that can be in any form, in any way, in any form. That can be in the form of Guru, that can, from our Guru, from devotees, from anyone. It will come in our heart. I've recently, after my Guru Maharaj departed from this material world, while we are hearing from so many exalted devotees very mercifully. They gave us so much time and so much support. They said, like, once you now the guru is not there, and if you concentrate on the Vani, as more you concentrate on the money, you'll see that the guru will appear in your heart. And some of them share their experiences, that how Srila Prabhupada, after Srila Prabhupada departed from this material world, Srila Prabhupada appeared in their heart. They felt it. And even they felt that presence more strongly than when Srila Prabhupada was physically in this world. They said then they actually felt very close relationship, that one-to-one relationship with Srila Prabhupada. So that's how, but then how it was happening, because they were intensely doing their prescribed duties, whatever they thought that, this is my prescribed duty, this is what my guru has instructed me to do. So that is something that, they were keep continuing doing their service with full intensity and enthusiasm, and that's how it got revealed in their heart. So with that note, I'd like to end here. Thank you all for joining in this series. Due to a little bit lack of time, I actually couldn't go to the full thing, but hopefully in next time, and with our whatever topic, I'll be able to put something more. And please bless me so that I can whatever I have come through in this my relation that I have shared with all of you, that I myself can fulfill that and go through that path. And if I have said something which is not appropriate, please also I beg your forgiveness. So I finish the session here. Tantra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Gurudev ki jai, Thai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Vancha kalpataruvasya kripa sindhuvaiva cha patithanang pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda ki jai, Namacharya Srila Das Thakur ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Gurudev ki jai. Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna.